I'm back with my co-host, Alan Morales from Today's Show. Our next guests have been battling a real medical mystery for years. Their 6-year-old son has a life-threatening disease that makes eating any food a potentially deadly activity. Take a look.
Having Silas was one of the greatest days of my life.
His birth was amazing.
Within 24 hours of when Silas was born, he was already vomiting. And they just said that it was reflux. He was deteriorating in front of me.
We knew that something was wrong, and we needed to get answers as to why this food wasn't staying in Silas.
When Silas was 3 years old, we finally got some answers.
Silas has a condition that's called eosinophilic esophagitis.
This is an incurable, lifelong disease.
Silas's body sees food as a foreign invader. If we weren't managing and treating it, he would have to live the rest of his life eating food out of a tube.
It was very difficult when Silas was almost 4, and we had to tell him that he could no longer eat any food at all. That was hard. Today, Silas stays alive through his juices and his soup.
If I have anything that's dry, it'll be spaghetti and meatballs and peanut butter.
Silas drinks 10 to 12 juices a day.
I eat the same thing for lunch and dinner.
Not too long ago, I know that he admitted he had been sneaking crumbs from the ground to see what they would taste like.
I spend typically 3 to 4 hours a day prepping Silas's food. And I have 3 other children.
He goes through about 20 to 25 pounds of produce per day. He runs between $800 and $1,200 a month.
In the last few months, I'll say, I can't keep up with this anymore. But I have to, because it's for my son's health.
Well, please welcome Jordan and Heather. Thanks so much for being here today. I mean, take me back to when that day when you found out finally what it was, because this has been going on for a long, long time where you had no idea what was happening.
It was actually relief. To get a diagnosis, to be taken seriously, and to have a plan of action at that point was great. It was a huge relief for us.
And before, the not knowing, I mean, must have been so difficult.
It was very difficult. We were told things like, oh, it's just a laundry issue because he would vomit so much. We were shuffled around from doctor to doctor, from specialist to specialist. It was very difficult. Then you wonder, am I going crazy? You know, what's going on?
Jordan, what would happen if Cy eats real food? What's the reaction?
Cy has a very severe case of what they call EOE, eosinophilic esophagitis. So his body will attack itself, thinking that it needs to get rid of what's coming inside of his body. And so that causes severe inflammation. And left over time, it will scar, can eventually cause the esophagus to close shut to where he wouldn't be able to eat food at all ever again and have to live permanently on a gastric tube.
Wow. How did you feel when you realized that he was actually eating crumbs off the floor just to kind of get that taste?
Well, one thing, Cy is an amazing, he has taught us more about life and patience and self-control. That was a real time of honesty for Cy, and it really was sobering for us because you sometimes forget this becomes normal, and when we're sitting at the table maybe commenting on our food saying, oh, this is really good, when we're having, you know, Cy sitting there eating the same thing night after night, I'm sure he's going to get curious about what we're eating, and he's never tasted that stuff. So when he saw it on the floor, it just made you think a little bit more about, just need to realize that he doesn't have much variety at all in his diet.
For your son to be drinking, you know, the same thing day after day, I mean, Heather, emotionally, how are you holding up?
Really well, due to the support of family and friends and our church. Our town has even rallied around us. But day after day, the therapy does take a toll. I have to homeschool Silas and the other kids because he couldn't be in conventional school and do the therapy. So it's a lot of work, but of course it's worth it.
And it's got to be fresh vegetables. It's got to be fresh. It can't be...
Fresh and organic.
Fresh and organic.
It has to be organic.
And it's got to be made that day?
That day. Preferably each hour. I cheat a little bit in the carrot juices. I'll do it one time, but the green juices, they have to be made fresh, and he has to consume them within 20 minutes.
And you have 3 other kids. I can't imagine as a mom of 2, you know, healthy kids, how you're doing this. I mean, how hard is this for you?
She downplays it a lot, but I'm a firefighter, so I'm gone for between 30 and 36 hours at a time, and sometimes I'll call her on the phone and talk to her. It'll be 10 or 11 at night, and she's telling me that she still has hours of prep to do, and I know she's not going to get to bed till 1 or 2 in the morning, and there's nothing I can do to help her, and she's just had a long day already, so she's just exhausted, and she's amazing. There are days that it's very, very hard, But fortunately, we have each other. We have a great family, and we're just chipping away at it, and we're very hopeful that Sai's going to have a cure.
How's it impacted your marriage?
It's definitely had an impact. All of our time, energy, resources are going to Sai right now. Having 4 kids and finding romance in a marriage is tough anyway, and then having one of them have a particular disease that takes a lot of time away is also tough. So when I invite my wife to have dinner, it's usually making dinner for somebody else and juicing and spending hours in the kitchen together.
And you mentioned there is no cure right now. The therapy, is there any kind of treatment?
We have been very fortunate to find a therapy. We had exhausted all our resources with traditional medicine, and through the grace of God, we found a therapy exposed to us called the Gerson therapy, and that's what he's on right now. He's on a very limited amount of foods on this therapy, but this has been the first time just last November that Sai had extremely positive results. And we really believe that he is healing from this disease, and we are very excited.
Well, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to meet Sai. He'll come out. We'll be right back.